And if you're just tuning in, you're listening live to the Angel Rock. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. Tonight we have a very, very special guest for you. We're streaming live out of New Orleans, Louisiana, or 107.7 Louisiana. You can also find us on uprntalkradio.com. We also are streamed, so you can't catch us and you're catching it on the replay. We're on iTunes. We're also on iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, you name it. You can find us. But the big thing, if you want to see what we look like or what I look like, you can interact with me too. You can come to our UPRN radio network, or it's a United Public Radio on YouTube. I've got a live interactive chat room here. Love to talk to you. If you got any questions, comments. We've got a really fantastic, amazing guest this evening, but I'm going to introduce him. He's hiding out tonight. You're just going to hear his wonderful voice. But I should tell you a little bit about me. I'm from Canada. I am a registered nurse. I'm also a psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer. I'm also a spiritual teacher and mentor, as well as this show. Every time you tune in, you're going to find something different about it. I say we basically illuminate the light on all areas, the spectrum of the paranormal, and anything from being what I am, a light worker, from angels to elementals to UFOs to the paranormal, and a little bit of conspiracy theory thrown in there as well. So you're going to get a different show every time. We've got fantastic guests. If you ever want to get a hold of me, I always usually forget at the end of the show. So you can reach out to me on Facebook at facebook.com/The Angel Rock. I also have two groups on Facebook. You can find me at Paranormal University or the Angel Rocker Tribe. And lastly, any comments, questions, or maybe future show ideas or guests, you can email me at theangelrock1508@gmail.com. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our amazing guest. He's a very good friend of mine. I love doing shows with him. We always have great shows together. I want to introduce Mr. Aage Nost. Welcome, Aage.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I am sitting down here in Tucson, and it is hot in Tucson.
It's hot here too in Canada where I live. I'm about 35 minutes away from the Minnesota border, right on the northwest corner of Lake Superior in Ontario. I tell people, and I've told you this, right, Aage? Like you said, it's so hot where you live, and it is.
Yeah, I know it would be hot. I know it would be hot up there where you are, because when you're hot, you're hot.
When you're hot, you're hot. No. Well, you said you've been here because I'm going to go over. You sent, and actually I learned quite a few new things about you, and I've known you for quite a while, but for one of the things you was a pilot. And I remember when I first met you, you said you have actually been through Thunder Bay before, haven't you?
Yeah, quite a few places up there, actually. I used to fly fishing people from Minneapolis all the way up into Canada, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, I'm actually about 6 hours, maybe a little faster, maybe a little slower, depending on how you drive, from Minneapolis. I'm north from there. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I always say the way the Great Lakes are with Lake Superior, it's the biggest. It kind of looks a little bit like a wolf head. We're kind of up right where the eye might be if you were looking at a side profile. It's the easiest way to see it. Yes. So I have to, for people of you that don't know who Aage is, and every time I talk to him, I learn something new. I think you are one of the most fantastic, fascinating, interesting people I have ever had the honor and pleasure to meet and become my friend. I really
Oh, stop it.
I'm serious.
I'm going to be, if you keep this up, I'm going to be big-headed by the time you...
No, I doubt that. So I'm going to just go through some of this, and he just sent me a few things about himself. So Aage was born on a farm in Norway, in Northern Europe. He said he had to take over much of the work and management of the farm at an early age as a teenager. After graduating from agricultural college, he operated the family farm for several years in Norway. He spent 1 year in mandatory military service driving a battle tank in his country of Norway. I did not know that you could drive a tank. And I'm going to keep going on because this is an amazing resume, and I'm sure you've left a lot out.
Don't put people to sleep with all that.
I'm because then people will kind of know a little bit about your background here because
Okay.
I do tell people about you because your ears is probably sometimes burning, but especially when I'm talking to somebody about radio, and I really believe that, don't get me wrong, I love all my guests. I've had wonderful guests, but you and I have done some pretty interesting shows in the past on radio. So so going further a little bit with this, with your bio. So by the age of 25, you had learned several languages. I believe you said you speak 7 languages.
No, not 7.
Uh,
I wouldn't starve to death using 6.
okay, 6. Sorry. Sorry. I added an extra for you. That must be the one that you're learning now, right? Wink, wink.
Yeah.
You studied science, including metaphysics and different forms and theories of spirituality. The age of 25, you said you left Norway to go to the USA, to the flight school at Emory School of Aviation in Greeley, Colorado, and you graduated. Pilot license, you got lots of certifications and ratings, such as a flight instructor, airplane flight instructor, instrumental, multi-engine rating. Actually, sounds like you're kind of like a jack of all trades when it comes to planes from looking at this. Would I be right in saying that, Aage?
Well, yeah, I've done a lot there, so yeah.
And then you also did some teaching. And you said you've flown pistons, turbo, propeller, and jet aircraft. So I'm going through here. I'm not going to keep going through your whole flight history, but the one thing I did forget to add too, you also said earlier in your bio that you learned hypnosis from a traveling magician when you were still in Norway.
Yes, he was not a traveling magician. He was one of the magicians in Norway, Tore Torell. Tore Torell was the guy's name, and he was one of the big names in Europe.
Well, it says, as you used to own your own business, Arrowhead Airways, to your partner, you said you sold your share. And then you started doing other things, such as getting into paranormal research, hypnosis, oil painting, teaching hypnosis, and mind development. These are important to remember, folks, because it's going to kind of explain where we're going. You've also been involved in a lot of other projects. You're also a guest on a lot of shows because he's a fascinating guest, folks. This is why I'm giving you all this history behind who Aage is. You've taught the Subliminal Dynamics of Mind Development course. Teaches you to assimilate information from a book at the rate of 50,000 or more words per minute. And when you told me how many words per minute you could read, I thought I heard you incorrectly. So, Aage, before I go any further for our listeners, can you, I know it's going to be difficult, but how can you put that in a nutshell? Because you've explained it to me before, how the mind can actually assimilate that many words that quickly within a minute.
Well, the thing about it is that you were never taught how to read because you were taught rote memory. And that is meaning one word at a time that you put into conscious memory, and then 20 minutes later, it's passed on into long-term memory. What we do, we bypass conscious memory altogether, and you open up a channel from the conscious into the subconscious mind and back. And that creates a two-way flow of information. And when you sit down and you fly through a book in about 5 minutes, then you take a mental picture of the pages, and that mental picture goes bypassing the conscious mind straight into the subconscious mind and get lodged in long-term memory. So then later on, when you want something, you use triggers like what did so-and-so do in the book and so on. And when you send that question down, long-term memory brings it out. It's something that takes a little bit of practice. And in fact, this is a mind development course that I don't mind talking about because it's done some phenomenal things for me. And in fact, if there's a website out there that's Zox Pro Training, that's zoxpro.com, ZOXPro.com. And if you go there and read and study it, you'll find it.
I remember you sharing that with me. Now, I've got a question for you, which is really interesting. Now, and again, you and I talk not just with radio, we talk, from time to not as often as I would like, but we're busy people. I understand that. But when I was taking a CRV course, a controlled remote viewing course, and interesting thing that you've said, and I know you'll be able to give me the answer for this. The person that's been teaching it, really phenomenal teacher, Lori Williams, sorry. I'm hoping to have her actually on the show in the next few months. Really, I love how she teaches. It's very personable, using a lot of examples. You don't even feel like you're learning. But the one thing that she said that I did not believe, because I didn't think that there had to be a way around it. She was always taught that the subconscious mind cannot speak the same language as the conscious mind, and the only way to connect the two is to go through the body, using the physical body through sensations or your senses. Now you're talking about this almost like this channel, if I'm hearing you correctly, with this program. So what's the connection that you would be using with the Zox program, for example?
So the thing about it is that the mind has different aspects to it, or just sections to it. If you, let's say you see something or you read something and you want to memorize it, what we are told to do is that read it over about 30 times and you'll never forget it again. Well, yeah, that might work too, but that takes a little longer than just taking a mental picture of it. Of course, you got to lower your brainwave pattern down into the alpha range, about the bottom of it, and there's methods to do that. And then you bypass the conscious mind directly into long-term memory, and then you can dig it out of long-term memory later on. That's a lot quicker, and there is a connection there. And those two minds, the conscious and the subconscious mind, which is really the same thing, but they do speak the same language. Otherwise,
Go ahead.
Otherwise, one would not be able to communicate with the other.
That's what my thing was. I thought no, and what I believe as I've gotten older, and my mind this is coming back. But as a child, right up and through university, and I didn't even realize I was doing this, but I have an eidetic memory. For example, my third year of university in nursing, I had, I think, 12 exams in about 5 days. And I also worked 3 jobs while I was going through university. And that's the most difficult year in a 4-year program for nursing, because that's where you learn the abnormal or the dis-ease part of the program. So I literally would take a 5,000 page textbook and just go through, skim it. And then I can remember in the exam, I would read the question and I could see the words on the page. So is that kind of like the same concept, or are just some people, because I believe everybody must have some sort of a form of a gift of this, or are able to do this. Would I be correct in saying so? With the proper training?
Yes, you would, because eidetic memory, that's the advanced portion of memory. Okay. Because that is something like Nikola Tesla had, and Warren Buffett has it, and he's about the only guy alive that I know actually have this outside of myself. And you can put yourself in that state of mind, and the page show up in front of you, and you can read it right off the page, but there is no page there.
Okay, because I will tell you, for example, for my certification in nursing, don't get me wrong, with hurting my back and a certain medication I was on, I had lost a lot of this, and I was literally thinking, oh my gosh, am I losing my memory? I've been off that medication now for a couple of years, and it's starting to come back. And my youngest son also has this with autism. He can look at a page and just recite it after seeing it once to you. But for my nursing certification, I remember my mother was so angry with me because, I mean, it was the end of 4 years, a hard study, hard work. I wanted to go and have a good time before I started a full-time job, and I had my nursing exams coming. And I remember her saying to me, if you fail that exam, I swear to God, I'm going to kick your you-know-what. And I said, Mom, chill. I got this. So I stayed up for, I think, 2 nights, and I reviewed. It was, again, I had to have 4 years of nursing to do. I went into the exam and I wrote it. I was done early. And then I started work right away. And I remember I got called down in the hospital to the director of nurses office. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Like, why was I called down here? And I'm gonna brag a little bit. I don't usually do this, but and I don't tell this story very often. And so I walked in and she said, Lorilei, I've called you down here for a reason. And she said, I just got contacted by the Ontario College of Nurses, and she said, you've actually placed second in all the nursing students that wrote the registration. It was in 1988 when I wrote it. So, needless to say, I could not wait to go home with that piece of paper.
Yeah, I could see you. Hey, Mom.
That's exactly what I did. That's exactly. I said, you ye of little faith. That's what I said to her. So I don't usually tell that story, but it's kind of a good one. So
Oh, that's good.
So, and then the reason why I chose to kind of start the show a little bit with your bio was because you've got some interesting things in here I want to talk, and I hope, like that's something I still want to go a little further with, because that is something that absolutely blows my mind. Could I read 50,000 to 100,000 words per minute? No, I am still very slow.
Let me just put one thing in there while we're talking on this. When I was traveling around the United States teaching this course about some 25 years ago,
Right?
I did an experiment one time, and Richard Welsh that put the course together, I never told him about it, because if I did, then he would have just crawled all over me. Because what I did was that instead of giving them a test,
Right?
we had a class about anything from about 10 to 25 people, and we gave them the book, and they flew through the book in 5 minutes, and then we gave them a written test on the material they had just flown through.
Yeah.
But I didn't give them the test this time. I took the book, stood on stage, and I fanned the book in front of them.
Okay, that's
The guy in the book, consciously, he could not see a thing on that page, nothing.
Okay.
And then I gave them the test. And they scored slightly lower than what they had done if they had actually gone through the book themselves. They were in the 80s and the 90%.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And after I did that, I was kind of thinking maybe I should tell him, but I decided not to. He actually never knew.
Yeah, but a little experiment on your own, right? To see 5 minutes versus basically going like this and you're done, right? Like
Yeah,
just
I fanned it. I was done in 45 seconds fanning it. I fanned it several times, and they were staring into the book. I put them into the state of mind that they needed, lower the brainwave pattern into the bottom of the alpha range, about 7 or so. And then they stared at the book, and I fanned the book, and I gave them the test. And they did it, and it was in the 80s and the 90s, 90%.
Wow. Wow. And
That
so
tells you what the subconscious mind can do.
exactly. You took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to say, imagine.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get to that, because you and I have had many discussions about this, but we do have someone in the chat room. I want to give a huge shout out to Lisa Renega. She's actually the station director for the Rift Radio Network on Blog Talk Radio, and she's joining us here in the chat. She has a question, though, Aage. She said, for you, she says, how do we bring our brain waves into alpha to memorize the information in the first place?
Well,
Good question.
Okay, here's a simple answer. All you can do, every time you sit down and watch TV for any length of time, your brainwave pattern lowers themselves down into the alpha range, because you are in a form of hypnosis when you watch TV.
Right.
And we do the same thing here. We tell people that there's a little mind ritual which they'll teach you about in the course, and you lower the by relaxing. And thinking about absolutely nothing is a form of meditation, if you like.
Right.
And that's something that I really like to talk about a little bit later on, meditation and all the benefits and how to do it, because I run into people.
Let's go there now, Aage, because I talk about it too. That's part of what I teach as a spiritual teacher. I consider that as a light worker or psychic medium. I've been taught, and I believe that's kind of my mental workspace, if you will.
Yeah. So meditation is what I'm considering it to be, is the gateway to higher consciousness. Now,
Exactly.
you may have been born with some gifts and some abilities that you don't necessarily need to go through that, but that's fine. That's wonderful. Stay with it. Whatever works for you, don't change a thing. But if you're not satisfied with your ability to connect to perfect memory and to the universal consciousness and receive information out of the Akashic records and things like that, if you're not satisfied with it, start with meditating, because it opens up the door for you. And meditation has been around for thousands of years, but of course in the West, it's been poo-pooed because it takes away from the power and the ability of the people that keep you controlled. Because,
I got questions for you later on that if we have time, but go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah,
You said because?
I run into people all the time. Well, not all the time, but ever so often. They've been meditating for 20 years, but they still do not know how to empty their mind out.
Exactly.
They still get thoughts popping in on them, and there is a simple trick, and I'm going to tell you the trick right now, so don't don't switch your channel. There is a trick here that will dull your mind, and all your unwanted thoughts will go away.
Okay.
And that is plain and simple. Sit in a comfortable chair like you or lotus position or however you do it, and stare at something on the wall in front of you. If you're outside, find something that is stationary.
Okay.
And then cross your eyes just a little bit.
Okay.
So now you see 2 doorknobs instead of just one that you saw before.
Right.
And you don't cross your eyes so much that it hurts, but just a little bit. So you see 2 spots that you're looking at.
Okay.
And then you close your eyes and keep your eyes crossed a little bit, just like you did when you had them open.
Okay.
Notice now, when you do this in a matter of about 3 to 5 seconds, the mind goes dull and all your thoughts go away. Because now
nobody has told me that trick before. Keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going. Sorry.
See, what happens is that now you give the mind something to do that does not take thought to do. So it just goes dull. Now, I don't know the neuroscience mechanics of that, but it works.
Because what I was going to ask you, do you remember back probably could be about 10, 15 years ago, there was that big fad where they had those paintings that just looked really bright with a bunch of like squiggly, it was solid, but it almost looked like TV static on it or like radio frequency waves. But if you stared at it, exactly what you just said, if you cross your eyes just enough and you focused, that you would actually see that there was a picture within that. Have you ever seen that before?
No, I don't remember that.
Maybe it was a Canadian fad. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be.
But that's what it reminds me of.
Things are different in Canada. Who knows?
You know what? Afterwards. I'll send you a screenshot. And I could never get my eyes, because nobody ever explained it with that type of simplicity. And I always give credit where it's due, Aage, but I'm going to be borrowing that when I teach people meditation, because that's the biggest problem we hear today from people. I hear it from people. And then there's people that keep thinking they're doing it the wrong way. And I keep saying to them, just the fact that you're making this effort, that you're starting to train your mind to do this, give yourself permission, stick with it, and keep going on, and but this is a beautiful way, and I really thank you for sharing that with our listeners and with me tonight about that, because go ahead.
Yeah, and I think there's another thing too. The meditation is not just for developing, a better mind control or getting abilities. Psychic abilities are increased very much, and you have great health benefits, and intuition will increase a lot. You have in schools in Japan right now, in grade schools with the kids, they're starting out with a 5-minute meditation.
Love it.
And that should have been implemented here a long time ago. Many businesses are using it because it increases productivity and it manages stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't have stress. I don't allow stress in my body because it doesn't exist what I'm concerned. Stress is
Okay.
only organized negative thinking, and I am never going to go there. Now, it also, another thing that happens is that it betters your mood. And what this is an experiment we can actually do, because
Okay.
any time that you smile,
Mm-hmm.
the brain, there's a combination between the muscles in the smile
Yeah.
and the brain, so that when you smile, the brain releases dopamine, which is the chemicals that make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if you're feeling rotten,
Mm-hmm.
try to walk around with a smile on your face, and it's almost impossible to feel rotten.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I I do want to give a quick shout out from Lisa Renega. She said, "Oh wow, I love it. Thank you, Augie. Now I have a new way to meditate." So she said, "Huge thank you to you."
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yes, just go do it, and you'll have fun with that one. And now, for the health benefits, I want to mention a few other things. It actually
Absolutely.
corrects mental disorders. It controls cholesterol,
Really?
and it lowers blood pressure.
I knew that.
It can actually help on cardiovascular disease, help on asthma. This is out of the medical books now. It's not me saying this. It overcomes addiction to a certain point
Wow.
and improves the immune system, and especially losing weight. Also, it works there. It says that it works better for women than for men.
Hmm.
So that's something to remember. And it prevents Alzheimer's. How about that?
I could see that. Hmm.
Yeah, and it improves the sharpness of the mind, spatial orientation, and memory, anti-aging, and things like that. Alpha. Anytime you go into alpha wave brainwave pattern, you increase creativity.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's a lot more on that page where I was reading this from. So this is something that, if nothing else, do it for your health.
Hmm. What I wanted to ask you, I had also read that if I know, please correct me if I'm mistaken, but 15 minutes of meditation can be equal to like an hour-long nap. Um,
Yeah, that's what I used to teach. The 20 minutes meditation is equal to 2 hours of sleep, depending on which expert you listen to.
mhm. No, I had heard that. And
Yeah.
some of the things I had heard before about meditation, absolutely, you've taught me as you always do when I talk to you. But I've got a question that's in the back of my mind here. Have you worked much within the omega levels? Like, the famous lady that was sort of a pioneer, as I understand it, is Dolores Cannon. Have you worked much in that?
No, I have not.
The only reason I asked because of some of the interesting past life information and
Yeah.
things like that. But what's really powerful, I want to make sure that I get to your books and stuff. So if you don't, you remind me, I've got in front of me to remind me anyways. But this is so fascinating. This is some of the stuff we talk about. And I also teach about is people do not realize the power of the mind. And with Broadcast Team Alpha, would you want to share a little bit about that, or you want to go?
Yeah, let me get to that. There is one more thing here on
Perfect.
meditation that is very important that people know about.
You
And
have
that
to
is
talk.
something that's called, it created this concept called the Maharishi effect.
Okay.
2 decades ago, a group of people got together and they were meditating on Washington, D.C. to reduce the crime. They did this, they started on June 7 in 1993, and they continued this every day until June 30. And they started with
Okay.
800 people, and they're increased as they went along to several thousand by the time they got to July 30. And
Okay.
the crime in Washington, D.C. dropped 23.3% in 7 weeks. After they
Wow.
quit the meditation on reducing the crime, it went right back to normal or slightly above.
Wow.
That's the power of the mind. And what they did actually is that they created a mastermind. You know, the mastermind is when two or more minds are united in harmony, they create a third mind that has the potential mind power of the two or more of them multiplied by each other.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that 1,000 people got together like this.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 times 1,000. What is that? That's 1,000,000, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now you got a mind power of 1,000,000 minds concentrating on reducing the crime in Washington, D.C., and that's what created it.
Wow. You know where I had heard of this concept a little bit, and he didn't use it, I believe, not this term that you've used. I've heard of, and I'm going to butcher saying the Maharishi effect,
Yep,
you said?
yep,
Okay.
yes.
Was the great late Art Bell, as I understand it, when his numbers were just over 100,000, like just massive numbers of people. I remember there was one particular incident. I believe there was an area in the southern United States. It might have been Texas, where the
Yeah.
rain, they needed rain. You go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, what he actually did, Texas was burning up. It had not rained for 4 months.
Yeah.
And towns were running out of water. Cattle was dying, and they were in bad straits down there. So he went on the air, and at that time he had some over 10 million listeners. Now that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I was listening that night, and he told us all, visualize rain over Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. And he was quiet for 30 seconds. There were dead air for 30 seconds while we were visualizing this. And then he came back and it said, thank you for participating. And then, we went on with the show. Later that night and the next day, there were thunderstorms all over Texas. And there were rain everywhere.
And they weren't forecasted, were they? Right?
That's the forecasters came on the air and said, we are totally dumbfounded because there were no moisture anywhere in the computer models that could create this rain. But it did. They didn't understand it. And of course, I understood it. 1,000,000 times 1,000,000. How much of a mind power do you have in that? I ran out of zeros. I don't even know the number.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so Aage, for our listeners that are new to this concept, the first question I can literally hear it is, what is created? What is creating this power of the mind? Is it the energy? Is it the thought waves? Is it the brain waves? What is it that's creating the mastermind exactly?
Okay, the unity of mind is created by attention and intention. Attention, that is creating something to look at, and then intention, that is making that thing do something. When you intend that, yes, there will be rain over Texas, and you visualize that rain, and you see the rain, you feel the rain, just like you are in it. You can feel yourself the dripping off your glasses down on your nose, and you can feel yourself in that rain. That creates the power behind it all. And I want to say one more thing here.
You know my mind. I'm always asking a million questions, so just keep going, Aage. I'm loving this.
All right, okay. There will be another mastermind like this. Lorilei and I, we are creating this mastermind. We have been working on it for a while, and shortly here we are going to be coming up. So follow me on YouTube, or follow Nori on YouTube and Facebook, and wherever you stay with us. So when we open it up for everybody to participate, you can join us, because I want everybody to be part of this, because we can do some phenomenal things with this. Once we unite our minds like this, it can be used for mankind as a whole, or it can be used for individual people. Let's say somebody's got a sore toe, or he's got cancer. Call it anything you want. It can be united minds put together to heal individual ones, so they can get the benefits individually within that umbrella of the mind, of the united mind. So this is something that stay with us on this, and watch for it coming, because it will.
Broadcastteamalpha.com as well, right? Is your website?
Yes, that would be good.
But you know what? You know what else I want to ask you though? I think other groups around the world have been doing this, not realizing that. Think about that, where they've got prayer circles or all over the world, and they think it's miracles, whatever you want to call it. But would you call it kind of the same thing when they're almost in a meditative state, or really focusing all at the same time, their thoughts on one individual or a family? Would it be along the same lines as that, of what you're talking about? I know that religion isn't part of it, but I'm just saying that's what united this huge group of people to focus on something.
Yeah, see, religion, they're stumbling around in the dark, but once
Yeah.
in a while they stumble onto something. And when it comes to prayer, I hate to say this, prayer really doesn't work very well. And that's a good
Exactly.
thing. Boy, oh boy, I tell you, I am so glad that I didn't get everything that I played for. some of that stuff.
I meant more the focus is what I said. Man, they're all focusing. I hear you, Aage. I hear
Yeah.
you.
No, well, I was trying to be funny here,
You
but
are.
it really is that way because, well, let's say a prayer group get together and they want to have somebody healed. Very likely that they're not quite doing it right, because in religion, nobody teaches you how to pray. They don't even know what it is. They say, oh yeah, well, it says in the Bible that, this is what you say, but they don't tell you how to say it. They don't tell you to involve intention, emotion, love, gratitude, which are the language of the spiritual world. They don't talk about that. They say, oh, say this, please cure my cancer. Oh, God, you don't want that term in there, because now you have claimed that cancer like it is your cancer and you hold it close to your chest. That mine, cure my cancer. That's the last thing you want to say. You want to visualize yourself perfectly healthy and put emotion, gratitude for already having it, love, and see the people around you happy for you being cured. You want to see it as done.
Okay. Now,
And once in a while, when people get together in prayer groups and so on, it works because those aspects of what they're doing is involved in what they're doing, so it works. And I say, don't quit praying, because just because that you don't think it works, you got to do, but add emotion and love, gratitude for having it, and all these things that is involved in the spiritual language. When you do that,
and with the laws of the universe as well, though, don't they?
yeah,
Aage?
yeah, absolutely. And I tell you, when it comes to doing things like this, Lorilei is one of the best that can explain that, how the universe work in relation to our asking for it. So I guess you're going to have her on after a while.
I am. I would just touch base with her. We're just working out a date. She's going to be on her. I love her just as much as I love
Yeah.
you, Aage. She's a sweet, sweet lady. A nurse too, as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Reiki master. And you guys do a beautiful job together when you do a show. They've done some great videos. You guys even covered the laws of the universe at the beginning when you first, I believe, on YouTube, didn't you? Your
Yeah.
first few shows?
Yeah, we did.
Mhm.
Yeah, we did. And we overlap pretty good because she is better at explaining the universe and how it works spiritually and with neuroscience. And I'm kind of the egghead behind it, so I can explain more of the science behind it. So yeah, we overlap. So that's why some of those videos come out pretty good, actually.
No, you guys are perfect with each other. It's almost like I see a yin yang, because like you said, you've got one aspect and the other, and they fit so well together. They make almost a whole piece. I love it.
Which one is the yang?
Mm.
I
How about
don't
I
know.
tell you later? We got to give a huge shout out to Nori. We love you, Nori.
Yeah.
Lisa still here with us, and she says in the chat, religion may not be part of it, but she said, but it is, she believes it is to some extent. She said, I believe that Jesus used meditation and the power of the mind to perform his miracles. She said, I believe that is in all of us.
Absolutely. She's totally right, because when I talk to Christians once in a while, I talk about meditation, they say, oh, no, that's from Satan.
Devil's
no,
work. Yep.
It isn't. Right in the Bible, I read it says, be still. And he didn't mean sit still in that chair, don't move. That's not what he meant. He said, go within and still your mind. So he talks about meditation. Meditation is a new word, didn't exist back then. So obviously he used a different term for the same thing.
Right. And when you really, and you and I have done a show talking about Jesus and interpretation of the Bible and things like that. And we can say that for another show, right, Aage?
Yeah.
Augie
there's some controversy.
I know. We didn't get any, Aage. The way I told you we wouldn't. I visualized it that way, and the way we did it, it worked out beautifully. I actually got some really positive things about what we talked about. So
that's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some grown-up people listening to you.
I hope so. Because one of the things there's one thing I wanted to ask you, and I hope you're comfortable, because I know I've heard you speak of it before. When I first met you, you'd also shared with me you've actually meditated for many years of your life, but you had a break in there for a little bit. You said, right?
A break?
Yeah, didn't you have a few years off, I think you had said, and then you got kind of back into it? But the reason why I'm mentioning it, and if I'm wrong, correct me.
Yeah, I had a break in meditation when I came to the United States, and I was so busy flying, I didn't take the time to do it. Mm-hmm. When I was in Minneapolis, we started that flight school. I mean, Christ, I worked around the clock just about. So I really didn't take the time. So they were probably the first 5-6 years. I think I really didn't do much of it. But then I started doing it again a little bit, and I realized that I was really missing out. So I started doing it again.
Are you comfortable talking about the download, though, that happened with that?
I could. Yeah.
I would love for people to, because you know what, I think this is absolutely fascinating. And I know you've talked about it before. I wouldn't talk about something you hadn't talked about before on the air or something. So please, would you share with our listeners, please?
It's gonna take a little while to set the stage for it, so they will understand why I got to where I was able to take the time to do this, and that is that. Okay, leave me alone for 2 minutes, and I'll probably be able to pull it together.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, in 1999, I ended up. I had a radio station in Tucson, and I was hosting and producing 2 TV shows, and I got talked into getting on the ballot and running for Congress.
Right.
So that's a handful right there, and. When I had the radio station and the TV shows, I had the media in my pocket, so I could just pretty much talk about anything I wanted. And my opponent running for Congress, anytime that he opened his mouth, of course he was lying. He was a politician, and I was there pointing out and made him look like a lying fool every time that every time he opened his mouth, and I made some very powerful enemies. They wanted me off the air really bad. So there was a friend of mine, he was being attacked by the city, and they were trying to take 5 properties away from him. So he transferred the ownership of 1 property to me, figuring I could also probably protect it better than they could, since I was also a paralegal.
Yeah.
And that worked. I guess that's the house they continued to live in afterwards, because the city took the others. And they filed criminal charges against my friend. And since I was helping him out with paperwork, they also scooped me up and filed criminal charges against me.
Oh my goodness.
And I had to go into court and defend myself. And of course, I figured it out that I underestimated the corruption in the courts. So I ended up having to defend myself. And right at the jury, he informed the jury before the trial, the judge came in and said, the court has decided these people have engaged in criminal activity, and if you do not judge so, you can get in trouble. With other words, he ordered the jury to convict. And of course, they did. So I ended up spending 4 years in prison.
Oh, Aage,
and that is.
I wasn't expecting you to share that part. I was talking about
it ties into the whole thing. And I think I have mentioned this on another show somewhere, so it's out, and I don't really care because actually I'm half-ass proud of what I did helping my friend out.
You should be, and I didn't expect you to go there with that because I knew that, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
The first time you told me, I was crying because.
Yeah. But that brought me to a place where I had all the time in the world to meditate and to write. I wrote 2 books while I was incarcerated.
Incarcerated.
Yeah, and I was sitting in the morning watching the sun come up, and I meditated. And there was one time in the meditation where I started to get flashing lights coming in from the periphery of my field of the side of the field of vision, even though my eyes were closed. And in there, after a while, I started seeing things floating around in this pool that showed up. But it happened so fast, but the mind slowed down, so I was able to see each thing.
Okay.
The mind slowed down to the point where there was just... okay, I had to stop the computer from shutting down there. Gosh, they want to still do this program with me. Okay. I actually, I got off track here. I'm trying to save the computer.
Go ahead. What you're thinking about? You were talking about that things, but we actually have a comment. So I'll if you want to collect your thought for a second, just surely.
Let me go on. And I was seeing the universe. I saw inventions. I saw the universe, how it was structured, how it worked. I saw the past, the present, and the future that I was going to be in at the same time. It was just floating in this pool of light, and it looked like a stream going from the left to the right within the pool. And it took just a few minutes, and it just started fading, and it was clear in my memory what I had seen. A lot of them were free energy devices, actually, because I was really interested in that. And then after it was over, it was obvious to me that the universe was explained both in concept and detail. And now I sat there, what in the world do I do with this?
Wow.
And then I just, figured it out that I grabbed a tablet and a pen, and I started writing, and I wrote for 3 days, plus or minus what I had to do.
Wow.
And I still have the notes, and I have done a lot more with the notes afterwards. But this is going to be coming out in a later book somewhere. I'm not even close to getting that done yet, but I have it in a safe place. So if anything happens to me, somebody else will put that together. That's my life insurance policy, I suppose.
Nothing's happening to you because you touched on what you've done to try and reverse the aging process. But sorry, keep going. Sorry, getting off track.
No, but I write about some of that in my book, Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. In there, I teach people how to use their minds in ways that normally they would think was impossible.
I love it.
And that's the biggest part of it, besides all a lot of information of the past and how Earth was created, how mankind was created, and where we're going, and things like that. It's in there. So it's kind of an interesting thing, and I and of course I got to say this, for those of you that is looking for spelling errors and stuff, I left a few in there for you so you could find them.
Typical classic Augie. So Augie, when you talked about the Earth being created, I'm still laughing. I'm sorry. When you talked about how the Earth was created and man was created, was that part of your download? And I also want to thank you for sharing that, because I didn't expect you to go there with you, and I'm so proud of what you did. And I'm so thankful and grateful, and with so much love that you shared that with our audience. So thank you, because that could not have been easy. You were innocent, so thank you.
Yeah, it was one of those things that I totally underestimated the corruption of the court, and when the judge said that, I heard something of it, but I didn't catch it all. What I should have done is to jump on the judge and say, "Wait a minute, did you just order the jury to convict? Because everybody is innocent and proven guilty." That would have shut down the case right there, but it slid right by me, and I passed.
That was jury tampering.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you think about it, right, and I don't wish this on anybody. I would never wish for you to have to go through that. But so you got this universal download, and then did you start one of your books? Like I know you've got all your notes, but did you write any of your books while you were in there as well? Because you haven't just written one, you've written a few.
Yeah, I wrote actually both of them while I was in there. I added a few things to it after I got out, because then I had better access to research. But about 95% of both of them were written while I was in there.
Okay, so you've talked about the first one. What's the title of the second one, and where can people find them?
Spiritual science, higher conscious thinking, and how to access the universal consciousness. The best place to get them is actually from Amazon, because they're a little quicker. Probably you can get them on one of my websites too, and they're $5 cheaper there, but still Amazon is better.
Okay.
Because they're so quick on getting it out. They just get it out maybe the next day.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
And they're not digital either, right?
No. They're just paperback, because I find that digital books, what happens to it when it's on your computer and the computer crashes or the memory stick goes bad? You lost it. It's better to have the book, because 30 years from now, you may want to read it again.
Well, plus, you know what? And Seraphine and I both are of the same mind that, you know what? There's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned book, because exactly what you said, what if you want to go back to it, or God forbid, everybody's believing, the internet's going to go forever and ever and ever. Say we had an EMP strike or a solar flare, something, knock it out. You know what? There you got it. You're not going to get it off your computer.
That's right. And now the other book that you mentioned, that is one that's called Universal Success Principles and How Billionaires Think. I wrote that from memory of my association with 3 billionaires while I was, during my life. And I learned a lot from them, because I learned the Eastern way, because one of them is a billionaire in Hong Kong, and another one lives in Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm sure you know who that is. And then there's a third one that I learned a lot from them, talking with them, and all of these principles and the mind techniques are in that book that I can think of. There's probably more and should be expanded, but I would say for people in business, get it. If you want a better family, a smoother working family, get it, because it'll teach you how to operate at a higher level of thinking. It's more like higher level of thinking, and that works both for family, both for associations, both for clubs and business. There are some principles. And one of those principles I'm going to say right now, because that is something that the deeper thinkers will understand it, and that is that there's 2 things that go to the bank. One of them is money, and one of them is goodwill. and they have equal value at different times.
Oh, please
Take
expand.
take that one and put it in your pipe and smoke it. It's that I was told that one when I was sitting in the back of one of these billionaires' airplane talking world affairs for 2 hours, and that is one of the sayings that he told me, and it's always stuck with me.
So when you say goodwill, when it's the right time, you mean giving to others, like sharing the wealth? Is that what you mean, or am I
Sharing,
off track?
sharing the wealth, sharing knowledge, sharing companionship, sharing anything that will make another person feel better or save their ass if they're in trouble.
You know what though, and these sound like really simple things to do, and they
Yeah.
are, but they take, with anything with time, it's being cognizant of wanting to change, I would believe.
Yeah.
Working these principles into your life with the parts that resonate with it. And with anything, once you do something with regularity, it then becomes habit. Would I be right?
Absolutely. And there's one thing you can do tomorrow, and that will make you feel wonderful. 100% guaranteed it's going to make you feel wonderful right afterwards.
Okay.
And that is that when you walk by a homeless person, stick a $10 bill in their hand and see how they light up.
Mm-hmm.
You get rewarded more than that homeless person did. You're going to feel like $1 million walking away from that. You're going to feel so good for helping them out.
And the beautiful thing,
another one of those, here we go again. Here, another one of those principles that I want to say for people that is in business and somebody that, let's say they don't like their job and they'd like to do something different and become something different. I'm going to ask a question, and that is, what would you start tomorrow morning if you knew you could not fail?
Oh my gosh, I would be here for probably a month writing down the things that I knew I couldn't fail at.
That's right. Because when it really comes down to it, we live in a mind-created universe. Quantum physics has proven that to us.
Yes.
What we see around us is not really there. It is a mind-created construct that is created for the purpose of the mind behind it to have experiences in the physical, because the soul or the consciousness or the mind behind it has no physical body, so it cannot have experiences in the physical reality. So we are the hands and the feet of that mind or that consciousness behind the veil, so it can get experiences and experience from the physical.
Okay.
So now when we know that there really is just all mind around us, so why don't we go into our own minds and decide exactly what we want? And we create it in our mind in colorful pictures, with emotion, with intention, with gratitude for already having it before we do. Seeing people around us enjoying it with us. Fill it with love, because we feel wonderful having it already completed. And then we take that bubble and we place it in the future and into a time-coded event like a Christmas party or a birthday party. Forget the calendar. It's no good outside of the physical. Doesn't exist. But events like that, time-coded events, exist. So we place it at the Christmas party. And then in the meantime, you go back and forth to that thing. Visualize it every day, several times a day if you can. And now you're building, put more details into it. You feel it. You can also, just like you're wearing it every day. And when you go back and forth, you lay down attractor strings through it. Then these are little tiny strings of white light going from you to that thing in the future. And as you do this every day, you do everything you can to help it happen. And by the time that Christmas party comes around, you walk right into it and it is yours.
You
You
must
do
you must
people that do that, if you do that, you're going to have a different thing coming at the Christmas party.
You must have read my mind, Augie, because when I messaged you when I was driving home before the show, I was thinking about this. I was thinking, I hope we get a chance to talk about this. And here we are talking about it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have the floor, but I do want to share something with our listeners. And as much as I try and complicate it with the illogical mind, and that exactly what you're saying is the absolute truth, and I've proved it to myself at 14 years of age. And you know how I did that?
No.
I was always tall. I was very, very thin, clumsy, lanky till I probably about 12 years old. I was never athletic. Believe it or not, as much as I talk now, I was painfully shy till I was about 16. And now you can't shut me up. But I decided I wanted to learn how to play basketball. I couldn't even run without tripping half the time, but exactly what you said. I started watching, it was only the NBA back then. I would have pictures of who I wanted to emulate, who I wanted to be like. I would do exactly what you said, keep connecting to it several times throughout the day. I still had to help it. I still had to do the practice. I still had to do the work. It wasn't just going to appear out of nowhere, but I was visualizing. It would visualize myself. But I really, truly believe that I would be on the starting lineup of a basketball team. So the first year, I warmed the bench. The next year, I was the starting lineup all the way through high school. But the beautiful thing, and the Dell that lives here always teases me, but you know what? It was a really big thing, especially back then. I'm going to be 54. By the way, Augie, you're celebrating my birthday show with me because my birthday's on Thursday. So who better could I have with me but you?
Oh, congratulations.
Well, thank you. But I was the reason why I mentioned I'm going to be 54. So this is like 40 years ago, and I remember this so clearly. By the time, and Canada used to have the 13th grade, they wiped it out probably about 20 years ago. But by the time I was in, we called it grade 13, I was the only girl that was allowed to play with the boys.
Oh,
Yes. And you know what? But the thing, and I always go back to that and I remember it because I wanted it that badly. I could see it, I could visualize it, like you said, connect to it several times a day, and truly, truly believe it. Even though people would say, you're never going to be able to do that. You've never done a sport in your life. So I always try to go back to that. If you know, when we hear people say to you, that's impossible, you'll never be able to do it. It's never been done before, whatever they want to say, we need to not hear those voices, right? If we've got that belief, is that what you're trying to tell our listeners, Augie, that anything is possible?
I rest my case.
I hear you.
You did it.
hmm But you know what? I think, though, if most people that are out there hearing this really think back in their life, if there is something that they really wanted to be able to do and really, really believed it, that they were able to achieve it. Would you not agree?
Absolutely. There is no limitations to what you can do. But your mind has to be right in order for extraordinary things to happen, your mind has to be right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have total belief and confidence in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you sit down and say, oh, gee, I wish I would have a new car, the subconscious mind says, wish, okay, I'll keep you wishing.
Exactly. Think about the old saying, careful what you ask for, you just might get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but wishes, they never get you anywhere. Hoping is not a plan.
Right.
If I hope I get that job. Yeah, okay.
Keep hoping.
Subconscious, yeah, the subconscious looks at that and says, well, he hopes to. I'll help him.
I love how you said that. I'll help them.
I'll help him hoping.
So that's why I think it's so imperative, the words that you used explaining this, believing that it's already
Yeah,
happened, right?
absolutely. And this goes even back to even deeper than just doing it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to the mastermind principle again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say a family get together.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a situation. Let's call it a new car. They say that the car they have is on the last leg, and it's doing the job, but they know it's not going to last forever, so they need a new one. They
Right.
get together, decide. Let's say a family of 5 people get together. What kind of car do we want?
Right.
What do we want the car to be able to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they have decided on the color and interior and everything, then they go down to the dealership and find one that looks just like that. They get in it, test drive it, bring a jar, open it up, and put the lid back on so you can have some of that new car smell.
Okay. I thought you were going to say, and then they drive away.
No,
Never to be seen again.
no. It's just live it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go back and you do it again the next day. You sit there and visualize yourself driving down the road as you did in that car. And now you do that every day. At the same time, you start putting money away and you start looking at other things that can create excessive funds, discretionary funds that could actually at least get up to the point where they can get the monthly payment taken care of. It's not that hard to do. A lot of people, or most people, can do that. It's just that they never really think about it, or a lot of people do think about it and they go do it. So they don't think about it as manifestation, but they go do it anyway. It's just because they're using the universal principles, and it works. So what about a bigger, let's say a football team?
Right.
They want to win just like you did. And not football, but basketball. Now,
Okay.
if you have a large team like that, they do stuff like this within the team. They visualize success. And now we can go even further than that. We can look at look what happened in the United States in the last presidential election. People were sick and tired of the corruption and the inciting that was going on. So we got a change. People wanted change. So this is the mastermind that created that. And this is something church groups, they should do it. If they have a specific group of people that want to help out and they don't have the money to do it, go visit that group and say, look here, this is what we can do. Why don't you come and join us for church service? And then they get together and create a mastermind with the people that need the money or need the help. And they visualize their success in what they want to have happen together. And then they go out and do the work behind it. This creates results.
I have a question for you. I have one from the chat room, but I'll ask you this one quickly as well. What happens when you have the group as a mastermind and you've got people that are all gung-ho in the beginning, and then you get people that start to lose faith, people that start becoming the naysayers, and we get them always in a group? How do we keep these people motivated, or do we kind of just trim the fat so to keep the positive vibration, positive energy, positive motivation? Because people are going to ask that because it happens. Unfortunately, a lot of people have that as human nature. The glass is half empty, but they get really gung-ho about something. They get all fired up hearing this, and then time takes place. Maybe things don't happen the way they thought it was going to happen or that quickly. How can we keep these people motivated, or what do groups do when they're starting to use this mastermind principle? Keep everybody on board.
Well, first of all, it is important for them to understand the mechanics of how the mind works. If they understand the mechanics of how the mind works and believe that, they will understand that there's a wild card in here, and that is, in physical reality, there is a wild card called time.
Okay.
What you're asking for may not happen by tomorrow afternoon at 4:15 in the afternoon like you were hoping for.
Mhm.
It could take a week, a month, but persistence has to be, because nothing can outperform persistence. Just keep doing it. Even if you don't see the results yet, keep doing it. If they understand the mechanics of the mind, that this is the way it works. I have been working on something that I want to happen.
Mhm.
It hasn't happened yet, but I'm not giving up. I keep doing it. I keep doing it because I have seen the results. I placed it in the future
Mhm.
and it's there. And I'm going back and forth to it. It will happen.
I love
So,
talking to you. You always get me so fired up. I'm always usually fairly positive, but I love this. Sorry, keep going, Augie. Sorry.
okay, what were we talking about?
You were on so.
Oh, well, it's the mastermind again. Because there is no such thing as a man is an island.
Mhm.
It's lonely on an island if you're just by yourself, because we all need other people.
That's right.
And women need men in their life. Men need women in their life, because we are not meant to be alone. There is an attraction between, here we go, the yin and the yang.
There you go. Yin and the
And
yang.
there is an attraction that
Mhm.
creates companionship, and that has different levels to it. And like I said the other day, and I saw it somewhere, I don't know where actually, every woman need a man that messes up her lipstick every day, but does not mess up her mascara.
Aw, that's
Some of you will understand
beautiful.
what I just
I
said.
understood immediately. That is so beautiful. That is, and then, but then you hear, right? And then think about the mastermind principle too, because
Yeah.
this is some of the things I teach, because you hear so many people saying, there's no good men out there, there's no good women. Well, then guess what? Just what you were talking about. You know what subconscious is going to bring you? Either there's that same thing, there's nobody else.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you keep saying that to yourself, then you're going to end up with a scuzz bucket by the time the day's over.
You're going to end up with some pretty messy mascara.
Yeah,
Perfect lipstick, maybe, but maybe
yeah.
not perfect lipstick. I do want to get to a couple comments here for you, Augie, because we've also got Shirley A. Moore joining us with Lisa Renega. So thank you for joining us, ladies. I do want to give a shout out to everybody that's out there listening. If you're just joining us, you're listening live to the Angel Rock on UPRN Radio, 107.7 New Orleans, Louisiana as well. And I have my very, very special guest, Aage Nost. And I should introduce myself as well if you're just joining in for the first time. I'm Lorilei Potvin, the host, and I want to welcome you and thank you for tuning in. But Shirley wanted to say it's a little while back, Augie, but she said I studied a course in miracles and I work with the Jesus of that channeled material. With I guess when we were talking about what Lisa had mentioned with the meditation, she said I've seen many miracles happen this way. But Lisa's questions are, or did you want to comment on that, Augie? Sorry, what
No, no,
Shirley?
no. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Because Lisa's got some really interesting questions. She's got two. So the first one is, do you think someone can manifest psychic gifts this way, or do you think it's a natural ability?
It is a natural ability that everybody have. It is
I,
just a matter of, first of all, understanding it a little better than what they probably do, and opening it up to, and I just said before, meditation is the gateway to higher consciousness. You are not going to do a lot of psychic work without having some form of a higher consciousness.
that's
And that's one thing that wasn't on my resume, and I don't think in 1997 I had a radio show out of Sanford, Florida, where me and a master psychic was giving psychic readings on the radio for 13 weeks.
mm-hmm.
And starting it out, we were kind of probably, well, at least I was average. But by the time the 13th week have gone, we were good at it. There were once in a
Mm-hmm.
while we called out their name for the callers before they had introduced themselves. You can get that by training, but you got to stay with it.
And yes, I agree because I was telling you this, or I left you a message about this yesterday. Something has shifted in my reality, and I've noticed this since Friday night. And this used to happen when I was a nurse as well. And it was a little disturbing to me. I now understand it better, working with my guides and again with meditation. But I worked heavily in palliative care. And what would happen is, certain people you discharge off of your caseload. I ran an area, and all of a sudden the person's name would pop into my head. And I'd think of them. Lo and behold, open the paper, obituaries, they would be already passed away, or you'd see it probably within the next few weeks or a few days.
Yeah,
I used to think, oh my gosh, I don't even want to be thinking of people, and I wouldn't think it would just pop into my head. But that has been happening since Friday with me, not with the death thing, thankfully, but people I haven't talked to in years, just thought of them. I get a message 2 hours later. I've been counting. It's been 8 times since Friday night. But that happens, right? I mean, there's such a thing as telepathy as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Telepathy can be taught. You can learn that. And that is one of the things that we're going to start teaching within the mastermind group that we're going to start.
Yeah.
And there is some techniques that you can use, and including all the way up to astral travel. These things can be taught, and I talk about it in the book, some of it too. Some exercises can be done. And I tell you, if you start practicing some of these things and start getting some results with it, there will be a day when you suddenly have something happen that cannot be explained whatsoever. That's when you have walked through the door. You left the box behind, because now the whole world will open up to you. Once you understand that, yes, this was not physical, this should not have happened according to Newtonian science. So you have the results of your search for the spiritual or whatever is outside of what you were looking for.
That's what I teach my students. I call it evidential proof.
Yeah.
That if you need that and there's no other explanation, but you spoke it into existence or you thought it and it happens, and then it starts to happen over and over. And I don't believe there's such a thing as coincidence anyways. What's your thoughts on coincidence, Aage?
What is that?
I said, I don't believe there's such a thing as coincidence. I know you heard me.
Yeah, I heard you. Actually, I kind of think it is to a certain point, because when our spiritual consciousness here create this body that we're walking around in, right, there is some agreement that we came here with. That could be who we're going to get married to, what we're going to do for a living, if we're going to have major car accidents, if we're going to learn certain things. We come here with that program to create the master plan for our learning experience in the physical. But if you're going to drop the spoon on the floor tomorrow morning for breakfast, I don't think you came here with that agreement. That is details that just happen.
I gotcha. I got you. So, but then we could even get into the discussion. I haven't even gone there yet about timelines and your time resonator machine. And I mean, we could go on forever. I have talked to you for many hours, and it seems like 5 minutes because you are so fascinating. I just love your perception and
quit it.
Oh, come on. Let me prop you up, because I do tell people, and it's not a bunch of, it has to be radio friendly. Bravo Sierra, as my good friend Seraphine would say, or BS. It's the truth. We do have another question, and now Aage's head's growing and growing. You guys can't see him. That's why he hid on Skype tonight. So Lisa Renega says, can this mastermind principle work in reverse, meaning it can bring negativity if that's what the person/people are thinking about?
I actually, Well, let me turn that around a little bit. The universal laws work whether you are using them for the positive or the negative. If you are involved in positive thinking, creating good things in the future and going for it, you're going to have good things. If you're thinking, oh God, I'm not any good at this. I am failure. I don't do anything good. I'm so sick. Yeah, you're going to get a lot more of that. So there's something about that stinking thinking. Yep, it's alive and well. So quit doing it. Just stay with the positive. Create in our mind what we want to happen. And then go for it.
And you know what? For anybody that thinks that maybe this is just like hippy dippy new age guru stuff, you have to think about, even if we went back to the beginning of this planet, the beginning of whatever your belief is, how it started, how we existed, what we've evolved from, everything in our existence has been thought of and has been created. Would you agree, Aage, or disagree, or could you add to that?
Yeah, we created it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Did you catch what I said?
We created it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a mind-created universe, our portion of that spark of life that creates everything around us also creates. Right now, I'm sitting here looking at you. You can't see me because I was hiding today.
You.
Actually, I'm not really hiding. It's just that I'm comfortable. I'm sitting here at my desk at the computer, don't even have a shirt on. So I'm just comfortable.
We all would have enjoyed that.
Yeah. But what, where was I going with it? No, it's the mind creates everything. So I also create the image of you, and you are in it because you also create the image of what I see. So we create each other, but we create our everything. No, I'm losing myself in the explanation on this. We create everything around us, but there are also other sparks of life in that surrounding that also create theirs to interact with ours. I think that came out right.
No, I gotcha. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I'm trying to think where we could go with this because, like you said, I'm going to backtrack a little bit when you were talking about dropping the spoon and about coincidence and stuff. Would you feel comfortable discussing a little bit about time travel? Because on your website, Aage-Nost.com, you have the most incredible pictures on there, including, which you have shared before, I believe it was on Leak Project with Rex, your machine and your pictures that you came back as close as possible. But I think it was within 3 minutes, but you came back to a different timeline.
1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute. Actually, if you want to see that, it is probably one of the only, I think there is a guy over in Sweden that also have photographic evidence of time travel. And there may be others that I don't know about, but there is photographic evidence of time travel on my website, and you can go to www.aage-nost. That's www.myfirstname-mylastname.com, and go to the picture gallery on page 8. Scroll down about halfway down the page or so, and you will see 2 green pictures next to each other. One of the pictures has you can see it's raining. There's water on the road, and there's no leaves on the tree. And then the other picture next to it that has no rain on the road, and there is leaves on the tree. So what I did, I was sitting in front of the computer watching a newspaper in Europe, because they had these cameras that was showing different sections of town, and I could sit there and see the cars running up and down and stuff. And I took a screenshot of it. And then a good while later, I sat down and I went through a mind exercise that I actually explain in the back of the book, so you can learn how to do this. And I tried to go back to that time, the exact time where I took the first picture. And I did, but I missed it by 1 minute and 5 seconds or 4 seconds.
Okay.
And the thing about it is that I can say, yeah, sure, it wasn't the same time, but from one time where there's rain on the road and no leaves on the tree to the next picture where there is no rain and the trees have leaves, that doesn't happen in 1 minute and 5 seconds.
No, it does not.
No. So there were a difference here, and that is where I missed it, but there is a way. What I see now, I didn't think about it right away, but when I started looking at the pictures, I said, wait a minute, there's total difference here. I ended up in a different timeline where there were different conditions about the same time. There are many different timelines next to us. And we are in all of those timelines doing things pretty much the same as we're doing now, but we can also do major different things from what we are doing now. Depends on the mindset that we end up with, coming from one timeline going to another one, expanding to a third one, a fourth one. There are a myriad of timelines going into the future, and we are in all of them.
That always blows my mind when I start to try and take it apart. And again, time is a man-made construct. There is no such thing as time, whether you want to call it across the veil, whether you want to cross it. What would be the word you would use?
Time is just in the physical. It becomes real as an expression of linear time.
Right.
Time itself, science will find this after a while. What I saw in the download is that time is, you heard it, the expression of, time frame.
Yeah.
In a different time frame. That is exactly the right expression for it, because time is composed of a succession of mental present moments, one placed one after another. So you have one present moment right now. In a very short moment later, the unified field that holds that present moment collapses to nothing. And then it rebuilds itself right after that with all and everything that was in the last present moment. And then when it gets there, it passes a little bit, so you can see a little flat top on that sine wave, and it collapses to nothing again. Now the universe does not exist, but then it rebuilds itself in a new spike, and then you have another present moment that again will collapse to nothing. And they are very fast passing after each other like this. And that creates the perception of a continuous flow of time. But it's just like in a movie, there's the individual pictures that creates the movie. In fact, there is scientific evidence for that this system is real, because if you look at a square wave generator, and that square wave generator creates a spike, and it passes with a flat top on the sine wave, and it collapses to nothing. And then it has another spike, flat top, collapse to nothing. That's what a square wave generator does. Time in the physical reality uses the same principle, only on a much faster and much larger scale.
Do you know what I'm getting a vision of as you say that? And I can visualize what you're saying, but even from a medical perspective, you look at an EKG of a heartbeat, it gives you that wave, gives you a little dip, gives you a wave, and it goes flat just for a second, and you get another little, but exactly what you're saying. So if someone were to invent time travel, even if you look at science fiction movies, would they be looking for that dip in between the two waves? Is that where they're able to make, say, a time jump to be able to go to another era, another century into the future? Or
Actually, that's a little different because in each particle of thought,
okay,
that's thought is a particle
right,
acting like a wave, kind of
okay,
like light. But in the center of that particle of thought, there is a mini black hole that actually
gotcha.
will give you access to the universal mind because it passes through the black hole into anything that you want and you're thinking about on the other side.
Wow. You just
This,
blew my mind.
this is one of the things that will be discovered shortly. It's in the next year or two. This is going to become public knowledge, more or less, at least in quantum mechanics.
Wow. Holy cow. It's already, we've only got less than half an hour, Augie, and I'm not trying to rush you. I'm trying to actually follow a linear little bit of a line. I know you and I could talk to you for hours, but the reason why I brought up your pictures is because I want to mention, I think this is important, is you just put out a video documentary under the brand name Fast Walkers Open Files Volume 6, featuring UFO, alien presence, universal consciousness, the real power of the mind, and other things we are not supposed to know about. And I would love for you to talk about that if you're open to speaking about it.
Oh yeah, well, I'm sitting here looking at it, so I can talk about it. It's I was when we cut this video, I was in the chair talking for 5 hours at a studio here in Tucson.
Okay.
And I think they just dried me out, after 5 hours. But they just took 2 hours of it and made this video. And it is probably one of the most incredible videos that I have seen anywhere out there when it talks about scientific research that proves most of what we talk about today.
Wow.
In fact, my co-host on the Universal Consciousness show is also on there.
Diana.
And she was very ill, and she healed herself by thinking herself well.
I forgot about when she told me that story.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yes, it is. And we talk about the mechanics and the neuroscience behind what she did. And we talk about the planetary positions, how the Earth came about, how this solar system came about, what it is, and how the universe works. And it is probably one of the pearls that is not very well known, but I guess it's out there. And there is, you can Google Fast Walkers Open Files Volume 6, and you will find it.
I'm going to be watching it tonight because I just learned about, I remember you were talking about this on one of the shows we had done just before, I think it was before Christmas, when we were talking about time. And I think, were they putting it together? I think they were just starting. I remember you telling me this was from an interview.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also, actually, there's another one which is basically the same thing. I would suggest, if you're going to watch it, then buy it and keep it, because then you can watch it later. Man, I think also you can go to Amazon or other places out there, Hulu and places where you can find another video that is on the same subjects, and that is called Aliens and Agenda 21.
Ooh. Oh, Augie, we got to do a show on that. Just the whole 2-hour show. But go ahead, keep going. I'm just loving all of it.
You can find that Aliens and Agenda 21, and I think you can buy it, but you can also just rent it and watch it one time, and I think that's fairly reasonable, $3, $4, $5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So while we're on the topic of this, you and Nori have done two videos I have shared with well, I've shared many of your videos
Oh,
that you've got, but you got to let our listeners know about these because they are
oh,
mind blowing.
yeah. I had so much fun doing that with her that it
Mhm.
probably should be illegal, you know. I
The yin yang.
well, most of the things we like is if the government had their way, they would make them illegal. So no, what we did, we got on the we call it the moon pictures, and you will find that on broadcastteamalpha.com. Go into the videos and you'll find the moon pictures, you'll find the Mars pictures, and soon you will find the mysterious Earth pictures. There's things that we see here on Earth that really shouldn't be here because it can't exist.
Mhm.
And I found 60 some pictures. Actually, no, I didn't. There was 47 pictures of pyramids on the moon,
Yes.
people walking on the moon,
No
and
spacesuits. No
building.
spacesuits. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And these are NASA prints and from the Russian Space Agency and things like that. So it's well documented. And then we have Mars pictures. That is people walking around on Mars without a
Yep.
spacesuit. And
Exactly.
yeah, and there's a lot of strange
Where
stuff
was
out there.
the swastika? Wasn't that on the Mars video
No,
too?
that was on the moon. There was a large building about a mile across that is formed as a swastika. And it's a very old building, probably at least maybe a 500,000 year old.
Mhm.
And when the Germans came up there in 1945, they found that building and they started renovating some of it and set up their base in it.
On the moon.
Yeah, on the moon. Yeah.
Okay, then I got to ask you this question. To me, why, like, I don't believe that they just lost the plans, that they aren't able to travel to the moon like they've been, or, anymore because they lost the plans. And then I've seen video, and again, anybody could say this from NASA, but I've seen astronauts talking about that we don't have the technology to cross the Van Allen belt. So please, I'm dying to hear your explanation because I believe you. I believe every word of what you've said.
Well, there is a good explanation from it, and that comes with a question. They moved their lips, didn't they?
Oh, yes. You're gonna have to explain a little more than that.
How do you know when a government official is lying to you? That is when they move their lips.
Move their lips. Exactly, exactly. So,
They didn't lose anything. They just can't do it the way that we are told. But they have been on the moon since the mid 1950s. But
mhm.
they didn't go there in the tin can that they said they did. They
Oh,
went there in with the expanded or re-engineered Haunebu 3 that the Germans built in 1945.
wow. Well, now you got to tell our listeners a little bit more about that.
Oh, see, the Germans, they started making round aircraft back in mid 1930s or late
Hmm.
1930s. And they built the Haunebu 1, which was a round aircraft. I don't have it anymore. It was on a computer that I'm not using anymore.
Right.
And I have the test results from a test flight of a Haunebu 2 round airplane, where they fly from the ground to 60,000 feet of altitude in 3 minutes. Now, I'm a pilot.
No way.
I know what it takes to get to 40,000 feet. That takes you almost 20 minutes to get up there
Excuse me.
in an
Yeah.
airplane. So yeah, they lied about that because when the Germany gave up, the Americans and the Brits and the Russians, they found some of this technology. In fact, over in Bavaria, the Americans found a Haunebu. I'm not so sure what it was, but it was enough for them to take back and re-engineer and make it work. So
Ah,
yeah, the Germans had free energy, and they had anti-gravity. They had the so-called two-layer, the red mercury engine that creates a bubble of neutral gravity around the craft.
I've heard that before. I've heard
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and that bubble, that
Mhm.
electromagnetic bubble around the craft, that shields the ship. So when it goes through the Van Allen belt,
Okay.
the electromagnetic radiation cannot touch the people inside. That's how they got through.
Okay. Interesting. Now, I guess my next question, as I understand it, that the races that originally created these type of ships, they a lot of them, as I understand it, they don't have controls or steering wheels or anything. Don't they cut they a lot of that is done with their minds, as I understand? Am I right on that?
Yeah, in fact, there is an incident about that. It was then in early 1960s. There was a large 60-meter long ship that was found on the island of Helgoland in the North Atlantic.
Wow.
60 meters, that's 180 feet long.
Wow.
And it was a cigar-shaped ship. And when they got into it,
Yeah.
there were rooms, there were, people in there. There were dead ones because of the crash. And they got into it, got up in front where there was we could call it a cockpit, but
Yeah.
there were no engine in it, and there were no control panel. But this thing flew. So it was flown by telekinesis, which we would call it, or by the power of the mind.
Right. Now, did they say what race or what race of alien or people, as you say, were in there?
They appeared to, the way it sounded like from the papers, what I've seen, is they kind of looked like us.
Oh, because I've heard the Venusian race looks very similar to us. There's got to be way
Yeah.
more races, but is that where they postulate that they may have been from?
Yeah, the only difference that supposedly the ones that live on, or actually not on Venus, but in Venus, they have 6 fingers. That's the only difference that I have come up with, because you can't live on the surface of Venus. It's too hot. It's too close to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
But you can live inside because most planets are hollow. The moon is hollow, Earth is hollow. I have the pictures taken by the SR7 satellite. It's on my website, and it's on the moon pictures, where you see the SR7 satellite was 32,000 miles above the North Pole, taking a picture straight down, see a 7 to 800 mile wide hole going into the interior of Earth. That's
Oh,
where they forgot to put the sheet of ice over to cover it up. So,
I forgot. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but
yeah, or it was taken out of there or smuggled out or something.
hmm hmm Okay, we've only got just a few minutes left, but I have to ask you one more question about the UFO. I'm gonna have to have you back, Augie. You know I'm gonna be saying, Augie, I need you to come back. I've got so many questions. But with why do we seem all of a sudden to be and I understand everybody's got a camera pretty well on a cell phone and stuff. Why does there seem to be a real increase in UFOs? And it doesn't necessarily mean it's alien, just a lot of unidentified flying objects, strange phenomena that seems to be increasing in frequency, especially in the last few years. What's your theory?
Well, people that have really strong telescope
Mm-hmm.
and you aim it at the moon
Right?
right now, you will see all kinds of activity up there. There's ship in orbit.
Mm-hmm.
There's hundreds and hundreds of ships around the moon, parked on the surface. A lot of them, the bigger ones, are on the backside in stationary orbit because they know we're looking. And they are here for one purpose.
Mhm.
there is first contact coming.
Wow, I knew it. When's it coming, Augie? Any idea?
Well, next week, about Thursday at 4:15 in the afternoon.
I'm going to hold you to it.
I'm just joking here.
No,
Nobody,
Oh,
nobody knows the date because I don't think they know it yet.
right.
But they are patient. They have been there for over a year.
Mhm.
And they may be there another year, but they are here for one purpose because it is scheduled to happen on a floating schedule, possibly, because they know that the majority of minds on Earth want this to happen.
Absolutely.
It's gotten to that point. Now what they're probably trying to work out is that there is government programs that is trying to make sure this is not happening. And that is, and we're in the middle of a slow release of UFO information right now, which most people is calling disclosure.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And there will be disclosure. They're not going to tell us what we want to hear, but they're going to be some form of a closure where they say, yeah, there's aliens and we don't really know who they are. Or they're going to come up with some lame excuse, admitting that there are aliens and there are UFOs of foreign worlds here. But the government had no interest on telling us what we want to know.
And on that note, because I'm going to leave it hanging, because I tell you, I have to have you back. I have had so much fun with you. It is 11:53 p.m. my time, so it's got to be, let me see, minus my brain.
You are actually 3 minutes fast.
Am I 3 minutes fast? Well, but I know, but I still got to give you time to remind everybody again where they can find you, where they can find your shows, your websites again, everything.
Okay. I would definitely say go to broadcastteamalpha.com and go through the videos there. And also, we have a show on Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock in the evening, East Coast time, every week. And also the Universal Consciousness show on Mondays at 11 o'clock California time, 2 o'clock East Coast time. And go to Amazon and have a look at all the subjects that is in this book, Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. That's the book that'll teach you how to use your mind that you normally would think would be impossible. You're going to have fun with it. And also another book is Universal Success Principles and How Billionaires Think. That's for people that want to expand especially their home life and economic situation. That is key to that. And of course, the aliens and the aliens and Agenda 21. Go and find that one, and you'll have fun with it.
And don't forget your documentary. You got to remind them about that too.
Yeah. That's Fast Walkers Open File Volume 6. And friend me on Facebook. I pretty much accept everybody.
He does. And you know what, Augie, I can't thank you enough for being here. I thought, let's leave them hanging for the next one when you come back and we can answer some more questions. I'm sorry we didn't take phone calls tonight, folks, but there was just too much to talk about. I want to thank everybody that joined us in the chat room or was listening on uprntalkradio.com. If you're listening to this, you've obviously found it in the archives, but if you're listening live and you want to share this with somebody else to listen to, you can find the replay on the UPRN YouTube channel. We're on SoundCloud, we are on Spreaker, we're on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Podbean. You can find us all over the place where there's talk show, radio. We're pretty well there. I want to remind you that you've been listening to The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. If you want to connect with me, like I said, I am a psychic medium. I'm also a crystal Reiki energy healer. I work with chakras and healing that, auras. I'm also a spiritual teacher and mentor. I do have a YouTube channel on here as well. It's called The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. You can also find me on Facebook under facebook.com/The Angel Rock. As well, please join my 2 groups. We have people, amazing people from all walks of life in both groups on Paranormal University handles more of this type of what we've talked about, the more spirituality that we talked about earlier, mind development, opening your third eye. I know most people ask me that. You can find that in the Angel Rocker Tribe. And lastly, if you've ever got a question, a comment, maybe a future guest suggestion, or even a future show idea, please contact me at my email at theangelrock1508@gmail.com. Again, Aage, I want to thank you. This was fantastic. I want to thank everybody that joined us here.
Yeah, it was fun. And I'm going to be looking for your interview with Lorilei because she's better at this than I am.
Oh, well, I'm going to have both of you one night too, because that's just going to blow people's minds when we get the 3 of us. I have one of those minds that's going 100 miles an hour, and I kept trying. I would wait because Auggie's such a good speaker. He has a pause, and I think, okay, stop, I can ask my question. So I want to thank you all for joining us. I send you all so much love and light. I will be back next Monday at 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. I've got a fantastic guest coming by the name of Trish Leggett, a registered nurse who works in palliative care and in hospice. And we're going to be talking about death and dying, but from a very positive, beautiful perspective. Have a wonderful evening and an even better, beautiful week. And we'll see you next Monday. Thanks for joining us.